Welcome back to Bass Fishing Dive Bar. We got Scott Canterbury in the bar tonight. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity. Looking forward to discussing bass fishing a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to talk shallow water bass fishing tonight. We did a flipping episode last episode. We thought it'd be a good idea to have Scott come on. Might talk a little bit of dock flipping since we didn't cover that at all in the last episode, but it's going to be all shallow water fishing tonight with Scott.
Okay. Sounds good. We can talk dock fishing for hours and do a different episode another night.
Well, Adam, well, good. But I got to ask how you're doing because you're a little different.
You're doing better than me. That's for damn sure.
So, Scott, you don't know this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Adam normally has a beard that's about, 12 inches long.
Really? What's wrong?
Yeah.
What's happened? Just get hot? Have to cut it off?
Oh, it's hot. Yeah, it was about not as hot as out there, I don't think. It was about 92 today, but no, that had nothing to do with the beard. I didn't really have a choice but to cut it off. I was off work. I had a long weekend, and started my weekend. I was reaming out some fishing rod grips. And normally I do it in the garage, and I use the air compressor to blow off all the dust off of it. And I had that thing on a drill, and I went to blow on it, and it caught my beard, ripped out this whole section.
Oh, my gosh.
Had the drill stuck to my face, had to reverse it off. When I reversed it off, there was a clump of hair about that big stuck on the reamer. Went into the bathroom going, please don't look bad. Please don't. Dude.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was not fun.
How many years?
And my wife was working.
Like 5 years to grow it back?
No, it'll probably take me about a year to grow it back. We'll see if I grow it back to the full length right away, but because my wife was working at the time, she's got a salon in our garage. She does hair, and she was out working on a client, and the kids were in the house, and I took the drill into the house, and I explained to them, like, this is why I don't want you playing with my power tools. Like, you can hurt yourself. And I took my hand off of my beard and showed them, and they're all like, what'd you do? I was like, well, I got to shave it off. And my middle son about cried when I told him I had to shave it off. So they watched me shave it off. And then the wife walked in the house while I was on the phone with Kurt. And I said, oh, he doesn't know yet, or she doesn't know yet. And she's looking at me like she doesn't know what. And then I took my phone away from my face. And yeah, the look on her face was priceless.
Yeah, I usually grow one about like you have now. And so my wife doesn't like it when I shave it off. I can't imagine.
She used to not like it when you had your beard.
I know it. Now she don't like it when I don't have it. So.
I had that beard for about 10 years.
Golly.
Feels weird.
Yeah.
I was a millwright. I was a millwright at U.S. Steel, and we were using a drill press, and the guy was oiling and wiping shavings and with a rag, and it hit the bit, got spun around, it had his hand, broke 2 or 3 fingers, about broke his hand all up. I mean, drills can be dangerous.
Yeah,
but that's the first beard I've ever heard of getting wound up in it.
Yeah,
rod building's dangerous.
Apparently, if you make it dangerous by doing stupid shit.
So,
all right, so let's get into a little bit of shallow water fishing. Where do we want to start?
Well, I thought we were going to talk a lot of dock fishing, so we could start on docks.
Let's start on docks.
Yeah, I mean, dock fishing's a technique all over the country, except for, and I weighed in a 9-pounder, almost a 10, a 9-12 in Florida too. But the Florida guys don't fish docks, is what's funny. So here in Alabama, it's a big deal. It really is, and it's big all over the country. We'll do. I mean, I can straight talk about it, or y'all can ask questions and we'll talk about it. Ever how you want to do it. I just don't want to. I mean, ever how you want to do it, Kurt.
You just ramble on.
About it and we'll ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I show up to a lake, any lake just about, especially around here, I'm going to start out with a jig. I mean, 100%. That's going to be my number one bait that I'm going to start with for a while. Can we see if I can get bit on a jig? There's always fish around docks. Water column is one thing, and I've actually been with Dirty Jigs for Kurt on Dirty Jigs, and I was with Dirty Jigs before I went pro. This is my 19th year. I think I've been with Dirty Jigs for 21 years probably now. So it's been a Dirty Jig for 21 years for me. And, when I'm dock fishing, it's the biggest thing to any kind of flipping a jig, in my opinion, is not color. It's not the bulkiness of the jig. It's the rate of fall is probably the biggest thing to get a bite in fishing shallow. Flipping shallow cover, whether I'm flipping grass. Like, I'm going to Neely Henry tomorrow, and I'm going to flip a 5/8 jig on 25-pound line in less than 2 foot of water. The only if you fish it with 20-pound line, you get such a fast fall that you don't get near as many bites as you do with 25. That 25 slows it down a little bit. So my dock setup is usually 20-pound, 17 or 20-pound line. This jig here, I just caught several fish at Logan Martin in the NPFL on this jig. It's a green pumpkin, dirty jig. This is actually a Matt Herron jig. It's a 3/8. And I got just a super chunk on it, and I thread it on most of the time. I do different techniques. I will hook it. If I use a junior, it's always hooked. But that's the jig that I used a lot at Logan Martin. Green pumpkin, dipped a little bit of orange. It's got 17-pound P-line, 100% fluorocarbon, and that's a 3/8. I don't know. There's been times, and you have to play with it everywhere you go, but there's been times where I was fishing docks that was 3 foot deep, maybe in New York. And I was fishing 3 foot deep docks, clean bottom, and every bite was a reaction bite, it seemed like. So half-ounce jig was a lot better this week. I mean, the water's hot, slowed down, the fish are a little bit slower, but they want a bulky bait. So the 3/8 seem to get a lot more bites than the half to me. That's something you have to figure out everywhere you go. What size, rate of fall creates, and that's day to day. I mean, it might be different tomorrow. If you get the right wind conditions and things like that, you may want to step it up. And that's something that I'll play with throughout the day. If I'm fishing docks and every bite, if I'm fishing 7 or 8 foot deep docks and every bite, every fish is on the outside post and they're on the bottom, I want to get my jig to the bottom faster, obviously. So I'm going to go to a 5/8. If a lot of my bites are happening as soon as it gets to the bottom, I think the fish are following it down, and if they're biting a 3/8, it's hard to change. But you can play with that a lot because a lot of times they'll eat the bait better if they don't get as good a look at it. So it's something you have to change up every time, and you got to figure that out day to day as rate of fall, and that just comes into how you do your jigs. But we'll start. I mean, I'm gonna cut this one off. We're gonna start just by talking about
before
how
you continue, Scott,
Yep.
before you continue, you talked about line size with rate of fall. So jig weight is your first thing that you change for rate of fall, and then you're adjusting line size to kind of dial in even further.
Yeah. I mean, my jig rate, if I'm flipping docks, I'm going to use 17 or 20-pound line every time, no matter what. If I'm flipping grass, I'm going to use 20 or 25 if I'm using monofilament. If I'm using braid, it really doesn't matter. But if I'm using monofilament, it's going to be 20 or 25 in grass. If I'm flipping log jams, like over and stuff, most of the time it's going to be 25. And we get into all kinds of fishing situations, flipping buckbrush, flipping log jams. I had rather use a big 25-pound monofilament or 25-pound fluorocarbon, a bigger diameter line than I had braid. I know braid's stronger, but that fluorocarbon will slide through that wood a lot better than braid will. You set the hook and that braid digs into the bark, you're going to lose a lot of fish when you pin them to that wood because your braid didn't slide through it when you set the hook. So that's something that I've learned a lot over the years. Beaver Lake, I won Beaver Lake flipping 25-pound fluorocarbon, flipping log jams. I finished second at Beaver Lake doing the exact same thing. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people are doing that, and it's just a matter of being the most efficient at what you're doing. Catching every fish that bites is the biggest key. So yes, if I'm flipping docks and I got 17-pound line on, my rate of fall is totally different with a 3/8. I've won a tournament at Weiss with a 1/4 ounce jig. 1/4 ounce jig is really, really good on shallow docks, but it's really, really hard to put that jig exactly where you want it with 20-pound line. So the rate of fall is definitely slower, and it may get you more bites, but getting the jig in there to the right place is a harder deal with that light of bait. So what I was going to get at is I'm taking a brand new jig out of the pack. So that's a 3/8. I mean, this is a 1/2 ounce here. So that's a 1/2 ounce Matt Herron green pumpkin jig. But when I take a jig out of the pack, obviously they're just always, all our skirts are all, I mean, have so many color skirts, anything you like. And it's different for different regions, but this is cut pretty straight most of the time. So I always, whether it's a swim jig, flipping jig, whatever, I'm going to trim my skirt up always. I'm going to trim my weed guard up. I'm going to trim my skirt up. And that's something that I'm really have done for my whole life. I mean, 25, 30 years of fishing I've been doing, ever how long I've been jig fishing. But a simple way now is I'll flip that jig over, upside down, bunch it all up, and you'll have different layers. And that's because everything this way is cut straight. The top one's a lot longer than the bottom one, obviously, because they're cut straight and you got it flaring out. When you flip them over and you get them all even like that, you just get a lot better flow if you'll trim them off to where those short ones are.
We can't see you,
Even with the
Scott.
short ones. Okay,
Yeah, hold
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah,
I just cut them off even with the shortest ones, the shortest strands on there. I just cut them even with that. Then when I turn it back over, I'm going to get a better flare on those outside ones. The above the band, I'm going to get more of a flare, so it's going to give me a little bulkier bait. But you can tell they're probably a 1/2 inch shorter than the long ones, and you're going to get a better flow with your jig, just like this one here. You see the shortness and then the long ones. It's just a better flow. Every bait fish there is, every brim, everything is bulkier in the middle, and tails get slender, whether it's a crawfish, whether it's a brim, or whatever you're trying to imitate. So that's just one thing that I've always done, and I've been pretty efficient with a jig over my career, trimming that up, and depending on, Kurt actually taught me a lot about weed guards back in the day. I mean, I don't know, everybody knows Kurt. He's a little meticulous on stuff, but he's taught me a lot about weed guards. And I used to always, no matter what, I put my scissors even on my hook at about a 30-degree angle and trim my weed guard. It covers the hook. It does everything I want to do, makes it where it's not pointed if a fish gets it. And that's the way I would fish my weed. That's the way I would fish my weed guards. I poured my own jigs before I actually met Kurt. And that's the way I flare it out just a little bit so it doesn't roll and catch. But that's the way I fished my jigs forever. So now, I've got a pretty decent hook set, I think. But now, if I'm fishing a place like boat docks or just about anything, a dirty jig has a really good weed guard in them. And if I'm not getting hung, I'll trim my weed guard back. And what you do to get to get the most efficient hookups and ratio of catches on it is I'll trim off the front. I do this with, actually I do it with a pair of my little boomerang snips. I can slide them down over all the weed guards I want to trim. I get 7 or 8 of them off of the front. Off of the front. This is what I was going to tell you that Kurt taught me. Off of the front. That makes that weed guard much softer off of the front. Much softer weed guard, better hookup, and I'm still not going to get hung. All right. If I've got a thin weed guard, or if I'm getting hung and I want to thin it down for my hookups, I trim it off the back. When you trim, but I'll leave it about halfway up the hook. If you want to make that a little bit stiffer, same weed guard, but you want to make it a little bit stiffer around your cover, but still get a good hookup because you're taking some of the fibers out. Halfway up, trim it off the back. And those real short ones will make it really stiff on the back. So that's going to help you a lot too at certain times. But if I'm fishing boat docks, you can see this jig right here that I use. This is the one that I used. I touched it tonight. The very front right there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not because I did it with my pocket knife. Right at the head, there's about 4 or 5, maybe 6 fibers gone. I mean, I don't know. Probably can see it right there.
Yeah.
And I did it right flush with the head. So I've got a thinner weed guard, super easy to get a hook in a fish, and I don't have any problem hanging or anything like that. So little bitty modifications. I mean, yeah, there's dirty jigs. I think make the best jig. This is a Luke Clawson compact jig. That's the other jig that I would fish docks with. Take it out of the pack, tie it on, fish it, yes. But there is little bitty modifications that everybody needs to play with and make every bait, every jig that they use fit their needs and fit how they fish, fit their hook set. Me and Kurt have talked a bunch over the years, and even when we get together and we fish, we play around with different hooks. I was using a spear point hook, Snell knotting it. He was using, what hook was you using up there on the river?
I think that was. I think that's when I was
A BKK.
playing around with that BKK. Yep.
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 And your hookup was really, really good with that. So
Yeah.
everybody has to play around with it. I mean, I room with Scott Suggs, and just about every hook that he ties on, he's going to open it up just a hair, just a little bit. I don't care if it's a jig, chatterbait, spinnerbait, whatever it is, he's going to open it up. And that's just because of the way that he fishes his hook sets. I mean, he's won $1 million tournament. You can't argue with the guy. It fits what he does. And everybody's different. I mean, this Luke Clawson compact jig used to be my favorite jig on docks. It gets bites. It gets more bites than any jig that I know of, really and truly. I mean, this is a compact pitching jig from Dirty Jigs Tackle. Pond bug, one of my favorite colors. It's got a lighter hook in it. It will, I mean, it catches. I've caught 7-pounders on it without straightening it out. The thing about this jig is it's got a thin cut skirt material. So every strand of this is probably, Kurt would probably know more than I do. I'm not going to say that on the Matt Herron jig that every strand of that's cut in half, but it's really close. I mean, this is a thin cut skirt material. It's going to flow in the water a little bit better, get you a little bit more action. And that jig really, really gets bites. I mean, I like that jig a lot. I use that jig. It's just that I've built so much confidence in the Matt Herron jig. It's got a little more bite. This hook is a Gamakatsu hook that is unique to Dirty Jigs Tackle. That's the only jig hook. It's the only hook, or that's the only jig that has that hook in it. Matt Herron designed this, and that's a only 3/8 ounce, which is right here. That is a 4/0 bite on a 3/0 shank. And then you go to a bigger one, and it gets to a 5/0 bite on a 4/0 shank. Shorter shank, comes through cover better, but it's got that bigger bite. And this is a 2X hook versus the finer wire hook on the Luke Clawson. Hook set's easy. Hook set's, I mean, just as easy to me, but it's just a stronger hook than the Luke Clawson jig is. Casting, if I'm casting it in brush piles, I like the finer wire a lot better.
Yeah, the Matt Herron has your traditional flipping jig hook gauge wire, or like a flipping straight shank hook gauge wire in it, and that
right.
Luke Clawson is like halfway between that and like a finesse hook, or it's just enough where it doesn't pull open easy, but it pulls through easy when you set the hook.
Everybody's going to be on here listening to this, and Scott Canterbury doesn't use the Scott Canterbury flipping jig. He uses Matt Herron's and Luke Clawson. He don't even use it. I do use mine. I use it when I go up north fishing docks up there where there's a lot of grass or vegetation on those docks. Like at Lake Champlain, I will be using my head because it's pointed, comes through vegetation a lot better than either one of these. The thing about these are a flat eye hooks going these jigs, and I use a flat eye hook when I'm pitching or when I'm flipping and I'm vertical fall. If I'm fishing a boat dock, the biggest thing, I said the biggest thing is rate of fall, and it is rate of fall. But when I pitch up to a boat dock, to a post, I want to fish every post on that dock, the perimeter of the dock. If there's a post in the middle, I want to fish the post in the middle. But I want my jig to fall straight down the post, like a crawfish or a brim is swimming down that post. I don't pitch up to a dock, and we have a lot of docks. Logan Martin, Kurt's been down here. We have a lot of docks that may be 8 to 12 foot on the end of them. You pitch up to a dock with 20-pound line or 17-pound line, and you hit right an inch or a half inch. You hit touching the post, and you just put your reel in gear and let that jig fall as it pendulums back towards you. By the time it gets to the bottom in 8 foot, it's only 3.5 foot away from the post. And that's not what, I mean, if a fish is on the bottom by that post, he's definitely not, may not swim out there and get it. He might, you might catch some of them. But if it falls right down on his head and surprises him, he's very likely to eat it. Or if it's coming straight down at him, he's liable to come up and get it on before it ever gets to the bottom. So, you know, anytime I'm pitching any cover, boat, shallow cover, tree limb, stump, anything that I pitch, I flip in, pitch in. Now we don't even flip over hardly anymore. We pitch in, and my spool is open until my bait hits the bottom. My spool is in free spool. I mean, I don't have a bait on there, but I mean, it just falls off like there's nothing. There's no resistance at all until my bait hits the bottom. And then I like my jig to sit there for a few seconds. I mean, fish comes over and looks at it, or maybe you landed right beside one and he turns, swims off. Most of the time he's going to turn around and come back. I like it to sit there I'm not very patient. I can't let it sit there super long. I sit there and then I'll just hop it 2 or 3 times. If I'm fishing the outside perimeters post, I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times. I'm going to reel in. I'm going to pitch the next post. That's just the way I fish. If I'm in a team tournament, me and Kurt's fishing, I'm going to hit every other post. I'm going to skip one because I got as much confidence in him catching one as I do. If it's a team tournament, it all pays the same, so it doesn't matter. If I'm by myself, I have to fish every individual single post on the dock. And then there are days, and that's where, like, a lot of people have got to thinking that, man, if I'm going to fish a dock, especially some of my buddies from Florida, if I'm going to fish a dock, I've got to throw it as far back up under there as I can. And there's fish that live under there, and there's days where that's where every fish is at. But most of the fish that I catch on boat docks will be on a post. Now, they may be on a corner post. They may be on a ladder. There's always a fish trying to climb a ladder, Denny Brower used to say. Denny Brower was the best flipper there's ever been at fishing boat docks back in the day. Still is, I'm sure. But he would say there's always one trying to climb a ladder. And that's just something different on that dock. Now there's a lot of jet ski floats. Jet ski floats is something different sticking off of that dock. Well, that jet ski float is flat on the water, too. There's no sunlight getting up under it. It creates 100% shade. So I have to pitch every corner of the jet ski dock. And once you figure, if I fish 10 docks and I catch 4 fish, and every single one of them is where the walkway meets the dock, that's a big, big place where they will get, you can sort of break it down. Like if you don't catch any up on the walkways, like if I start fishing a boat dock at Logan Martin tomorrow, I'm going to start at the bank. Most people start at the end. They just hit the ends of them. They might throw up there as far as they can, but I'm going to start at the bank. It takes me a lot longer, but I'm going to start at the bank. The very first post is off the seawall is where I'm going to start with my jig fishing, and I'm going to hit that post. A lot of times that's where the fish are, especially in the mornings. They may be up there super shallow and then work their way out throughout the day. But if I'm not getting any bites on that walkway, you can fish twice as many docks if you figure out that's where they're out, is out on the end, and you just do that. So, that's pretty much my startup is trying to figure it out. But if I fish an hour, especially if I'm on the Coosa River and I fish an hour and hadn't had a bite, and I know there's fish on boat docks, I'm going to do something different. There's lots of days and there's lots of times that now with the pressure that we have nowadays, that's changed everything. Back in the day, we didn't ever change. I had one of the greatest fishing partners the South has ever seen, Charles Thomas. He had an aneurysm, died in a tree stand, but taught me a lot about flipping a jig. We started out at daylight with 2 rods on the deck of the boat, no matter if it was in my boat or his boat. 2 flipping sticks, 2 jigs, brown jig, 2 brown jigs. We had Uncle Josh pork chunks back then on them. And he carried, if we went in my boat, he wore a onesie. Pretty neat little story. He wore a onesie. The Dickies onesies is what he wore everywhere, every tournament. If we went in my boat, he carried the little case that you carry your electrical tape in. I probably have one around here. Just a little plastic case. And he had 2 brown jigs and 2 black jigs, and black and blue jigs in it. put them in his pocket of his onesie, and that was his tackle box. He won boats, won Yamaha motors, won Harley Dixon, and won everything there was to win in the South. This is 25 years ago. We won 2 boats. We won a lot of stuff together ourselves. He held his rod, 7'6" quantum flipping stick. I wish I had. I probably can get it from his son. 7'6" quantum flipping stick, which is a lot heavier than my chaotic rod for sure. But he had it wore down right here to the blank, through the foam to the blank. His finger, his hands were a lot bigger than mine, like 2 inches long. Took shoe goo and built a pistol grip off the end of his rod, and he held it just like that. Charles Thomas, and that was the first. He was probably the first person to flip boat docks on the Coosa River, sort of like D. Thomas was out west flipping. He was the first flipper out west. D. Thomas was flipping reeds and winning all kind of tournaments out at Clear Lake and the Delta and stuff. But sort of the same situation, and I was blessed to fish with him for about 7 years. So that's how he held his rod, and we pulled string back then. The last few years that we fished together, I'd get to where I could pitch. Man, I could pitch that thing 30 foot. We'd be on the trolling motor easing up to the dock. I'd pitch up there and one bite. I'd catch him before we get there. He's, man, that's cheating. Let me get up. He wanted to run the boat. The only person I ever knew, sit down. He could sit in a seat, a regular seat, not a stand-up seat that we carry, a sit-down seat, and could flip just like that. He was a big, tall guy, big, strong, tall guy. Set the hook one-handed. When that fish would bite, he'd pop him one-handed and then grab the reel and start winding. And learned a lot from him. He was one of the very first. Alan Glasgow was the first person I ever flipped a dock with, but then Charles taught me a lot about dock fishing, the vertical fall, and how you want your jig to fall. We might fish the same dock. Now, he would go 2 or 3 days during the week, would shake them off. Back then, you could actually pull a fish to the surface nearly without him spitting it out, and you could see how big they were. We might hit that dock 3 times in the day, and the third time catch that fish, and it would be on the same post that he pulled it up on earlier that week. You can't hardly do that anymore. You got to cover water because of the pressure and how many people's doing it. But I'm still a guy. I mean, that's a 7'6" heavy flipping stick. That's a 7'6" heavy. That's what I still use today. I mean, what I started using back then, it was a 2-piece heavy eagle claw flipping stick. About the only thing I could afford. It weighed about 11 ounces, probably the rod did, without reeling it. And it was terrible to fish with. But man, that was what I did back then. So, but now we're going to change. I mean, we'll keep going. Been fishing an hour and I hadn't really got any bites on that jig. I'm going to go to something a little different. I mean, I've got all kinds of different deals that I use now. This one here is the Finiki worm from Bass Pro Shops. Just a bulky little Cinco type worm that I really, really like. I like the fat tail on that one. I use that a lot around boat docks. Short, still going to get that bulkiness like a jig bite. It's going to get a little bigger bite than it would be if you had to do a drop shot or something. Here's the rod that I had rigged at Logan Martin. It actually has an Ocho on it. An Ocho is the same length, same bulkiness as that bait. I've got a 1/4 ounce Epic tungsten weight on it, little bopper stopper, and a 3/0 spear point hook. Everybody that knows me knows I love spear point hooks. So this rod's I got 20-pound line on this one, and I could swap back and forth with a jig, but I was getting a lot of bites on a worm. If I needed a bite, I pick up the worm. I never even got it out of the box the last day, and I fished that jig and caught them pretty good. Caught the biggest fish I caught all week the last day on that jig I was telling you about. But we've got to where, and I think pressure probably changed it more than anything. And we got to where we'll fish that Cinco. This is an Ocho. I'll fish that Finiki worm. That's probably my favorite bait, and I told a lot of people about it. I mean, last year when I won Logan Martin, I caught a lot of fish on it, and it was on. I mean, all of that was filmed, and there's no doubt that's what I was using, and that's a green pumpkin blue. I'm pretty basic with my colors. I mean, Kurt can tell y'all that. I mean, I've talked to him for 21 years now, 22 years now, and I'm pretty basic. I mean, about as wild as I usually get is the Canterbury crawl, and it took us a long time. We built that skirt color in his shop, and like I remember today, like it blew my mind. Like I didn't know about jig cells and all that, We were there. I was up at Kurt's, and like he said, "What's my number one selling jig?" And I said, "I'm sure it's a green pumpkin flipping jig." Nope. Well, I mean, what's my number one selling swim jig? I said, it's got to be a white 3/8 swim jig. Nope. And everything was black and blue, was number one seller. And it went like, and then it went brim colors. Then it went shad, which was white. At that time, it changed, probably changed over the years. But brown, like, I remember Kurt saying, man, brown jigs just don't sell for me. Don't sell. We built a Canterbury crawl, and it sold immediately. I don't know. It's got some black and blue in it. It's got that brown amber in it. It's a mix of a lot of good things, and it's got a green pumpkin blue tint to it also. So my colors stay pretty standard. That's a blue crawl. I use a blue crawl with a red flake. As you can see, I grabbed that pack of worms, just green pumpkin blue. May use a little bit of dye, may not. Same setup, 7/6 rod. I was pitching that on. Both of these, pretty interesting little thing. Both of these reels that I use, I'm with Cast King reels. I absolutely love. That's the deadbolt. I don't know if anybody sees anything a little funny about it or whatever, but a lot of my buddies have been using this reel. There's no drag. You can't. I don't use it. If I go less than 17-pound line, I don't use it. There's no star drag, so there's no drag. You turn the handle, the fish moves, or you break off. I mean, it's strictly for power fishing. 17, 20, 25, or braided line, and that's a deadbolt reel from Cast King. So that's the two things that I will go to. Usually you'll get bit on that worm if you can't get bit on a jig. Docks, we're still talking about docks. If I can't get bit on that, and I didn't figure it out, obviously, at Logan Martin a little bit. Greg Vincent ended up winning that tournament. Caught a lot of his fish around docks. Caught a lot of them in brush, but a lot of them around docks on a drop shot, a fast drop shot. And that's something that I've done a lot. I did it that tournament a lot, actually, but I didn't use a heavyweight. I used a light one like I always do because I'm fishing it in brush and stuff. But my next favorite thing around docks is a shaky head. I mean, that's a staple in the South, probably a staple all over the country. And that's just, I mean, that's actually a Canterbury shaky head from Dirty Jigs Tackle, screw lock on it. Really, really, I mean, like, if it gets tough, I mean, that's a 3/16. I'll go to an 8, but you skip that around those docks with our spotted bass. That's red bug. I mean, I carry 2 or 3 different colors, worms, green pumpkin, June bug, and red bug's about the 3 colors I like to carry the most. I mean, my dad told me, I grew up fishing with my dad. He told me a long time ago, it really doesn't matter what color worm it is, as long as it's red bug. So I use a red bug a lot. Still today, they seem to bite it.
That's probably one of the. That's probably one of the. That's probably one of the only old school colors that still is in use from like the early '90s, late '80s. That red bug. You know, you don't see tequila sunrise and all those other colors, but or grape. You don't see grape.
Sunrise.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you see red bug.
You see red bug and you see green pumpkin. Black's a really good color. I know a bunch of people use black. They'll bite black just about everywhere you go. But that's still, I mean, that's a chaotic rod. That's actually, this one here is Kyle Welcher's signature series rod. That's his shine stick. It's a really, really good rod. I like it for shaky head fishing. It's got a good tip on it. And chaotic, Cast King reel. That's their Mega Jaw Elite spinning reel that I really like that a lot. You'll see that a lot on my deck. And now the next, like if I was getting bites on that, you know, you're going to catch some, obviously. You're going to catch some fish on the Coosa River on some boat docks. On a jig, you're going to catch some on that worm. You're going to catch some on a shaky head. You're trying to figure out what they really, really want. And nowadays, if you're fishing shallow or some of the fish are suspended, the urchin style bait is one of the things that you're going to do on these docks. And we'll get into a whole subject of urchin fishing here in a little while. I've talked to Kurt a little bit before we got on the air, and we're going to talk about different ways to rig it and different things to do with that in a little while. But that would be my go-to dock setup anytime, especially I'm in the summer right now. You know, we're fishing summertime. If I was fishing March or something like that, I'm going to be throwing a mag draft and a chatterbait a lot more. a lot more moving baits. We're talking about summertime, shallow water dock fishing, and that's what we're doing right now. Uh, Summertime fishing, and that's dock fishing. I mean, that shaky head, I may catch them on a dock that's 15 foot deep, and I got another rod or two rigged over here I can grab that Logan Martin I was using. Kurt's been up here with me before. Summertime, these big spots will sometimes spin under these floating docks, and I'll take that half-ounce Canterbury flip, the white. I'll use a white jig, a half-ounce Canterbury jig, and I'll pitch it up and let it really try to get it to fall on 15 or 17 pound line and get some reaction bites that way. That's a different little technique that we do, but that's about the only way that I actually fish shallow docks in the summertime. It don't matter where I go. If I go to Tennessee tomorrow, I'm going to start out with a half-ounce jig. If I go up to Old Hickory in Tennessee, I'm going to start out with a half-ounce jig fishing boat docks tomorrow. Everywhere I go in the country, I'm going to look at boat docks. And a lot of places that the boat docks don't get fished a lot, that's the places that they may be the best. You just don't never know.
That's it. Last year when you were here, Scott, we went to that lake and fished all them boat docks, and we started off fishing a little lighter. Weren't getting bit. I fished that Senko. You switched to the 3/8 Matt Heron, caught a couple fish. We got on some deeper docks. He switched to a half-ounce, and all of a sudden he starts catching the best fish we caught all day. And that's something that generally we don't really do here.
Yeah. I can't remember. I want to say might have been Oneida. I had a really good tournament with bass. I finished second or third fishing docks, and they were shallow docks. Like I was catching them up there in 2 and 3 foot water, and it was like every one of them I caught was on a half-ounce jig in that tournament. And they were like, "Why are you fishing such a heavy jig so shallow?" Because they're eating it. It don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to fish them a quarter ounce, and you might get another bite. But when they're eating, and it seems like the biggest one in there is eating it every time, I mean, that's what I'm going to stick with. And you just, I mean, like I said, I'll change it up. I may have, if I go to a new lake, I probably got out a 3/8, a half. No, it's not very likely that I'll ever have a 5/8 jig rigged up for boat dock fishing at all, unless I'm trying to get that reaction on a deep dock that's suspended fish. But if I'm fishing shallow, it's either going to be a quarter, 3/8, or a half, and 90% of the time it's going to be a 3/8 or a half. And when I start the day, it's probably going to be a half.
No. I think you
Kurt made the comment before we got started. Kurt made the comment about you not being able to slow your trolling motor down. How much time are you spending? Let's say a dock has 12 posts. How much time are you going to spend on that dock?
I'm going to make 12 pitches. I'm going to hit every post, and I'm going to make one pitch with the darkest shade up under it. Pretty much it. Like my dad. You're going
to let it hit bottom, let it sit there for a minute, and make the next one.
No, I'm going to let it sit there. I'm going to bring it or shake it, bring it up off the bottom a little bit. Let it go back to the bottom. Do it one more time. And then when it hits the bottom, I'm reeling it in. Like my dad, some of my old school guys that I may take fishing, they want me to line the boat up where they can make a cast down 5 posts and drag it all the way out there. My boat's got to be sitting still for a minute and a half to do that, where I can drop it by every single post. And I know that when you catch that fish by surprise, you're going to get a lot more bites than you are if he sees it. If he's sitting there by the bottom of this post, he sees it coming to him. Yeah, you're going to catch some doing that, obviously, but you're going to be a lot better off if you drop it by every single post or drop it by every single stump that you're fishing. Like, I don't want to line 5 stumps up in a row and make a long cast and drag it by every stump when I'm flipping stumps in the spring. I want to flip right on that stump and surprise him. I don't want it to splash. I want it to enter the water as quiet as I can and surprise him. Like, if I don't care if he's hitting it to kill it, as long as he's hitting it and getting it in his mouth. If somebody comes into your house, if they ring the doorbell and you go to the doorbell, you may just, you're going to talk to him or whatever. He may leave. But if somebody's in your house and you don't know it and he taps you on the shoulder, you're probably going to punch him or something. So, I mean, that's something you got to catch him by surprise sometimes. And that's what I want to do is catch that bass up by surprise.
That's it. You talked a lot about the rate of fall and all that. I think a lot of people on dock fishing, especially, they don't consider that initial fall from the time that bait hits the water to the time it reaches bottom. That's as much of the fishing of that bait on that pitch as anything else you do after that. You know, like you're saying, you're
100%.
maybe hopping it a couple times, maybe,
I would say
and then it's gone. It's reel it back in.
that's 80% of it, because
Yeah.
I'm going to say that 90% of my bites, well, 75% of my bites are either on that fall or the very first time I move it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree.
A lot of the bigger fish that you ever catch flipping, whether it be spring, fall, summer, whatever. I mean, you make a pitch in, whether it's a plastic, whether it's a jig, whatever it is, falls by that cover. If you're not paying attention when you pick up, you've got a slack line. He's already swam off with it. You don't know. You got to set the hook. And I mean, I'm not scared to set the hook not knowing it's a bite too. I mean, if a fish bites that bait as it's falling or something, maybe he doesn't really just comes up and just catches it right when it hits the bottom, maybe swim toward you, or he liable to just set there. You pick up, if it's a little soft or a little heavier than it should be, set the hook. The only hook sets that ever cost you are the ones that you don't use.
Mm-hmm. That's
so.
we always say hook sets are free.
In the last episode that we filmed was a flipping episode. We talked a lot about how a lot of your flipping tules or brush or trees, your bites are in that top 25% of the water column. When we're talking docks, how many bites are you getting in that top 25%?
You know, it's I would say on a non-pressured lake or a pressure or lake that doesn't have a lot of recreational traffic, I'd say most of them, majority of them, maybe even 80% of them. But it's funny, you got live scope now. We can actually see what fish are doing. I go fish Logan Martin, and it's different when you don't have it, and you got to figure that out yourself. And that's intriguing to me, and that's the thing that I grew up doing, is feel of everything that you want to do. That's one of the things that I love about fishing, is trying to figure things out without seeing it in live. And I like the live scope because I've learned a ton with it. Active target too, I've learned a ton with it. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't even want to crappie fish without my Lowrance on nowadays, but we did it forever without it. The fish at Logan Martin, I'm going to say Logan Martin because it's really, I learned a lot last couple of weeks in the NPFL. It's a recreational lake for sure now in the summertime. I hadn't fished there many tournaments in the past 7 or 8 years in the summertime because I'm always gone. But it is a recreational lake. Let me tell you, anywhere you turn after 10 o'clock in the morning, there's 20 pontoon boats, jet skis, ski boats. It's unbelievable, really, to me, because I grew up fishing it when it wasn't like that. In the morning time, sun's coming up, fish are on those docks. You'll see them. You pitch up there, bait goes 2 foot, boom, stops. You better set the hook. You pitch out here, it's 8 foot deep, it goes 4 foot down, he's got it. You set the hook. You start hearing the buzzing of these motors, these ski boats and pontoons. It don't even have to get real, like rowdy, rough. You don't have to get that way too much. And you can see those fish start sinking down in the water column. They go down to the bottom of those posts, and they won't hardly come up and get your bait. You have to be on the bottom. And that's something you just have to figure out every day. I mean, it could change because of cloud cover. It doesn't have to be the boats. It could change because of cloud cover or pressure. Barometric pressure has a lot to do with it, and you got to pay attention to all that. But it does change throughout the day, every day, and a lot plays into it, like boat traffic, like pressure, like the weather. Everything plays into that, and figuring out what those fish are doing throughout the day and where they're at in that water column is how you get bites and be efficient.
You see it here a lot when you're on lakes that aren't pressured. It's not even early in the morning, be all day if it's, just good shade under them docks. You're skipping under a dock, a fish will blow up on that jig as it's skipping, as it's going. And that's one of the most fun bites you'll ever have on a dock.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
I mean, late summer when fish are like, or if you're around a full moon, certain lakes, it doesn't really happen that much at Logan Martin, but St. Brim are really prevalent under boat docks, shallow docks. Maybe they're spawning up there on the walkways and stuff. I finished second in Portswood Cup at Lanier This is not the tournament we were talking about earlier, but I finished second at the Forest Wood Cup at Lanier, and I caught a bunch of my fish skipping a buzzbait, the Canterbury Pro Buzz that we designed with Dirty Jig's tackle, with a toad on it, skipping it completely out of sight. Rob Newell would call it trick casting back then. I'm talking about I could skip that buzzbait 30 foot. I mean, I could skip it at the back of a pontoon. You got two gaps each side of one gap each side of the motor. I could skip it all the way past the pontoon if I could hit that gap right there at the motor and just let it go. You wouldn't even see the bait or nothing. You could just hear it. You could feel it on top. You could hear it, whoosh, and you just reel till it tightens up. That's probably my favorite bite of ever, always. But you don't know, it's hard to get on that bite. It's really late summer, early fall when that bite seems to happen more than any time. Fish are up in the water column, clear water lakes, and they'll do that. You just said they will hit. If you skip that bait by your target, we're still on shallow water fishing. Something that I love. You skip that bait past that target, you're going to get a lot more bites than you ever do if you throw and hit that target. I've seen it happen so many times on Clearwater lakes on the walkways where I might skip it 5 or 10 foot past the docks, past those poles. It goes, well, I can actually see the fish take off from the post chasing it. The next thing he knows, it's coming at him. He's going to eat it just out of defense at that time. I mean, he turned to chase it, and it's back at coming at him. Oh, it's a given that he's fixing to eat it. So I've caught a ton of fish doing that.
Yeah, that buzzbait bite here, it was for 3-4 years after we did that buzzbait. I mean, it was that year when we prototyped it. It was like for 3 months. That was all I threw because you just kept catching them on it. Like the fish they never seen a bait like that under a dock, and they just completely come unglued on it. And I seen that a bunch of times. Like you're saying, you skip past them and you'd watch that fish just dart out, chasing out into the daylight to get that bait. And yeah, they're met by a bait coming right at them.
Yep, and they're going to bite it. Every time he chases it out, he's fixing to bite it. But, like I wasn't the first person to do that. The Carolina guys, Andy Montgomery, Brian Thrift, those guys let it out. I mean, like I didn't know anything about putting that. I threw a buzzbait probably more than anybody back then. I still do throw one a ton, but I wasn't the first to put a toad on it, and they were gluing it on lunker lure heads, homemade heads, whatever. Nobody ever had one. We were the first one to invent a bait that you slid the toad all the way over. It had no lead showing. And I think that thing it's been unbelievable. I don't know what the sales are to date, but it still sells really good all over the country.
Yeah. And there's a ton of other ones out there. I mean,
everybody, like a lot of companies copied that after that. And that's the whole fishing industry. Whoever come out with Urchin, if it would have been one person doing that, they'd have made millions. We just broke up into a lot of people, and they're probably still making millions. But everybody's going to try to copy. If one person was making it, nobody could make enough to get your hands on them anyhow. Yeah. So that's the fishing industry. It's going to get knocked off. Whose is the best? There's still, I still think ours is probably the best. There's some that's got, clickers on them, make me make a lot more noise than ours. I still like mine the best out of any of them out there. And I've tried just about every one of them out there. And, it took us a long time to get the hook right because the buzzbait hook was so long that it would come out behind the feet and you get messed up. Yeah. I mean, it ain't always a toad on it. I mean, we designed a bait. I designed a bait with bruiser that they put on it, that thrasher, and it was really good. Single tail. And I'm bad about putting a skinny dipper on it now, or even a little dipper on that quarter ounce and catch them that way. So, that buzzbait bite still really good. And if you ever get on it, it's a way to win because it catches big ones.
That's the thing with your buzzbait is we did 3 sizes, right? You got quarter, 3/8, and half. Each one has a different blade size.
Yep. And so I have every one with every blade size because I tinker with them. I'll take the half ounce and put the little blade on it, and take the quarter ounce and put a 3/8 blade on it. I like to tinker with things and get if I want it to go really, really slow. But with that smaller blade, the biggest difference was being able to skip that thing. The
Mm-hmm.
blade, if that blade ever lays over and touches the water, man, that smaller blade seemed like it would skip. It didn't catch as much water, but that big one, you
Yep.
can't hardly skip it. You can a little bit, but you can't skip it like you can that small one.
No.
So that's a whole nother technique for shallow water fishing. I've just got out. I mean, and I didn't get out a bunch of stuff. I've got rods laying everywhere. I just picked my boat up and getting some service work done today. But shallow water fishing, I mean, I'm a shallow water power fisherman. I like to visually see the cover I'm fishing, and I like to fish a jig. I like to flip more than I do anything else, whether it's wood, grass, whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, I've won a lot of tournaments and placed well in a lot of tournaments fishing that way. But, shallow water fishing is, spring and fall. We're going to be in fall before you know it. I mean, moving baits.
Mm-hmm.
Moving baits is a big, big deal. And that, I've done really good on some shallow water moving baits around docks. I remember, like everybody else, this urchin bait's taken over. But I remember when the chatterbait took over the fishing industry for a while. And that, I guess the urchin bait, and it may just be because it's now and it's prevalent now, but
Mm-hmm.
that chatterbait took over the industry pretty much, probably about the same way. Everybody had to have them. Everybody had to try to get them, and they were hard to get at a certain time too. The only thing about the chatterbait, well, you did have to figure out what trailer to use on it, different trailers and all that. But this urchin bait is the rigging techniques. I mean, there's so many different ways to fish it, and I still don't know. Nobody knows because we can't ask a bass. But why they eat it so much? What does it look like to them that makes them eat it? I don't know. I mean, everybody tries to say it's a plankton deal that they ate when they were babies. It was a microorganism as a plankton. I don't see that myself. I mean, I don't see that in that bait, but I didn't see fish either. I think about it as something that resembles fry, a ball of fry,
Yeah.
whether it's bass fry, shad fry, brim fry. It seems like this bait has been more. You catch more fish when there's some sort of fry around, and there's fry around for 6 months out of the year. So I mean, it's something that we still got to learn about. But that's what I've sort of thought more than anything. Nobody's ever built a bait that resembled fry, and that's something that maybe does.
That's why I think it is the way it is. That it's completely unique. And once you see it, how it's when it first everybody's talking about it, everybody up here was like, "Well, how big is it? How are we drop shotting such a big bait?" And it's like, "Oh no, you guys are fishing that thing more like a jerk bait than anything, right?" Well,
yeah, it's really weird. Like
we've never had a bait that resembled fry, like you said. Never had it. So now you've got a bait just like the Alabama rig. We never had a bait that resembled a school of shad.
Yeah.
And when that first came out, it was like you couldn't not get fish on it. And now they've gotten a little more accustomed to it. There's times when it works, and there's times where it's like, yeah, you just don't matter.
That's right.
I think it has more to do with the way that thing folds up when you pull it. When you twitch it and you stop, it comes to an immediate stop, and that thing just flares out slow.
Yeah.
And then you twitch it again, and it folds up again, and it flares out slow. And the presence that it has in the water, it's not. I'm not going to say unmatched because you throw big swim baits too. That has a presence as well. But for the style of bait, the presence is unmatched. And when that thing is folding up and flaring and folding up and flaring, they have never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
The drawing power. You're talking about that. The presence.
Yes.
The drawing power is what I've noticed. Like with live scope, we can see the drawing power. The dice baits have a lot of drawing power to me, but I didn't catch many on the dice baits. I didn't pop it like that. I mean, you may go back to doing that. But a lot of people are pouring these baits now, and they're pouring them with a regular plastic. And I don't think that works. I mean, I don't think that works as well. Obviously, it catches bass. I mean, some of them are soft out there now. The Yamamoto Uni, their guys catch them pretty good on it, and it's really soft and hang. I'm with you, though, that the TPE material, I have a guy here, and it's unicorn lures, and I'll show y'all some of them in a little while. He's got a blend of materials. That's some of the ones I was showing you here. This is not a TPE material, but the baits stand out. I mean, they stand out completely, but he's got a blend of saltwater and tough material and hardener that he's putting in them. He worked a lot on it and got those baits to do what we wanted it to do. And it works really well as well like the TPE material does. That TPE material is really comes back to life. Like I've seen them. Luke Clausen's boat was here at the house. He flew in from Washington for the NPFL. He had a suitcase. He packed a suitcase with nothing but urchin baits in it.
Carry on, completely full of urchins.
These baits come.
He's a millionaire.
What's crazy is these baits come, and everybody's coming up with boxes, way to store them, and doing all that. But these baits will come to you if you order 20 of a color or whatever from these companies that they're getting them from. I don't even know. It was Alibaba.com and all kinds of stuff. Come vacuum sealed in a Ziploc bag. They're tight as this, just like vacuum sealed up. They're smashed in there tight. And when that thing gets air, that TPE material just pops right back out. I couldn't believe it, but that's the way they come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like Alex Davis at One Lay Lake with it, he had them stored in a 1 gallon Ziploc bag. Is that not a good way to do it? Probably is. I don't know. I've got them. Look, I'll just show you right quick. I've got some of them here. Some of these are from Baca baits. Some of these are Queen Tackle. I mean, they're stored. Actually, this is a Bucks Island made this thing, and it fits exactly the Plano spinnerbait box, and it's got pegs that stick up. And you just stick them on there. You can stick 2 of the small ones on there. Fits exactly in that box. And there's 10 baits in there. I can fish a week or 2 weeks. I can fish all year with them 10 baits, maybe, with that TPE material. I ain't tore one up yet. You get hung. I mean, at first we'd go swimming. I went swimming at Lay Lake under $1 to get one back that I paid $9 for or something. But now you got enough of them now that I might just leave it under there.
Yeah, there's getting to be like just recently, like a lot of companies seem like they're getting caught up, or like you're seeing stuff in the last month and a half really pop off where you're seeing a lot. And you're not seeing any of the actual Quakies, like they're sort of like non-existent, but a lot of other people bringing them to market. And in 2 weeks with ICAST, we're going to see even more. We're going to see a whole ton of them in 2 weeks.
This looks, to me, that's a big one, 25 millimeter ball with a little bit shorter tentacles. This is Unicorn Lures. This is a guy that's here, it's local, that's pouring them. I'm just going to show y'all this. This is not TPE material. This is the one I was telling you about. I'll get something out to cut his tape. But that thing, I mean, I've probably caught more fish on this one than I have any of them because I've used it more. I couldn't get my hands on any other one. But that bait flares out really, really good. It's a really tough material. I mean, I'm tough, but it's a regular plastic, so I can use any dye I want to, and I can dye the tentacle chartreuse, orange, whatever I want to. And when I turn loose, it goes right back out. I mean, it's sort of the same thing you're talking about, but it's not TPE.
Yeah.
This is a regular plastisol that you can dye any way you want to. And I think that's another, like, you can't store this with any of those TPEs. You'll melt the TPE ones they just dissolve. I don't even know what it does. I don't know. I don't understand the physics or the chemistry behind all that. But you can store all these you want in a box. I've got a box that's got 30 of them in it. One big Plano box got 30 of these just sitting in there. And I can pick any of them I want up. I don't have no special pegs or anything. And that material works really well for that too. So that technique, I mean, shallow water mainly so far. I get not necessarily. I mean, the first person that showed it was Vegeta at Lake Fork fishing offshore trees, And I don't even know how he had it weighted back then. I'd have to go back and watch, probably with a drop shot weight, a little short drop shot, the way he was fishing it, I think. Cast into suspended fish in those trees, nearly won the tournament, the elite tournament. He was leading after 3 days, and he just didn't catch them the last day. But that was the first person to ever really expose it. But man, that thing is shallow water, I guess deep water too, if you think about it. But I haven't caught them deep on it, and it may be because every technique that I've used, I've caught some up to about 8 foot on it, and I caught some casting it, taking the skirt off a jig. That's what that one is. I just took a skirt off a jig. That's a 3/8 jig. That's actually a 3/8 Luke Matt Herring jig, but I cut the collar off of the hook. The collar that holds the weed bar on, I took a Dremel to and cut it off where I could slide it all the way against the head. So there's a lot of different ways to rig it. I don't know if there's a perfect way. I don't know. People are going to still be coming up with that. And I mean, I've got a box around here. I can show you. I've bought everything there is. I bought the ones from Cliff Pace, Primal Tackle.
Yep.
That's a really good flipping hook with a weight on the hook. You slide it up over and it holds it on there really good. And Christie one on the frog hook. That's one of the best. The best way I've actually rigged it is probably the frog hook. And
that's what I was going to ask you. How does that unicorn tackle one work when you're trying to do it on that frog hook? Because TPE, it's just going to stretch and go around. Is that plastic is holding up and being as hard as it, and it doesn't split? Because that's with that hard plastisol. Yeah, with that hard plastisol, it tends to split. Is what the plastisol normally would like to do. So he must have.
It's a 1-inch ball. It's a 1-inch ball. I don't know. I haven't split one at all. It's so hard to get it through there, even that one. But the TPE ones as well. But like I took a bunch of frog hooks. You can't get frog hooks right now. Thank goodness I had a 2 or 3 gallon tote full of frogs. And I actually took shrink tubing and put my nail weight against the hook on the bottom of the hook. So that bait, I've thrown it out in my pool a ton. And that 90%, it might roll to the side a little bit, but 90% of the time that bait falls with that weight first. I mean, even like a lot of people putting a drop shot below it to keep that weight, that hook facing up. But with it being on the bottom of that hook, it really works well. That's one of the ways that I've rigged it that way a bunch. I mean, I've got those hooks. I've tried every frog hook there is just about. I mean, I've got a bunch of them. I got that one there that's actually out of the scum frog, the launch frog. I got some of the launch frog that already had the weight on it. I've tried them with everything, and that frog hook, the hookup ratio seems to be better, but fishing it in cover is a nightmare.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, he just put them to market last week, but I know you've seen this one. Our buddy Josh is.
I've seen it. I ain't got my hands on them yet.
Yeah, well, they made him to Wisconsin. In there. Yeah, it's a spear point hook in there. He's got them casted.
Matt Herring doesn't want to give his competition any.
That's it's actually casted in resin, so there's no weight to this. It's got a little weed guard on it, and then you can find those quick snap free rig type weights, or they look like a drop shot weight, but it's got a quick snap in the top of it. You just click it on that ring, and then you can quick change your weight and everything. It holds the bait really good.
That's a freaking awesome setup.
Yeah, like here's one with it rigged up,
and his hookup ratio has been pretty dang good with that.
Yeah,
that's a bunch about it. I just don't have my hands on any of them.
Yeah, I heard about the day that Matt talked to you about him. He wasn't supposed to be talking to you. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be talking to you about him yet. Josh, he was a little hot about it. But no, really? That's he was like, hey, you ain't supposed to be telling anybody that stuff. I ain't ready.
It's good. They've sold a ton of them.
But yeah, what do you know? What's his website? Taddo, right? TADDO. Like he does some pole mounts and he does big swim baits, and he's actually the guy selling that baka. This is that's his urchin bait.
I've got a couple of bakas. Yeah, that's a good TPE material. I don't know Elastex or TPE. I don't know. That's one of those materials, a stretchy material, and that's a really good bait. There's a lot of them out there. I know colors. Certain companies are doing a little bit different colors. I got hung on the black label one a little bit because he had the blue crawl, which I like anything green pumpkin blue I like. And then the prettiest ones I've seen are actually the Fulks custom tackle. And I just got mine in after Logan Martin, and I've only used them once, but I've caught a few on theirs as well. They're all good baits.
We're going to see a ton.
One thing that I wanted to talk about with this category, because we prior to the episode, I was listening to Kurt talk to you on the phone, and we mentioned colors, and I threw my opinion out there. What have you noticed? Does color really make a difference with these, in your opinion? Because I've got an opinion.
Well, I probably haven't fished with it as much as as a lot of people, but I fished with it every time I've been fishing. I've used it, and I talked to Luke Clausen. Luke, like I said, had a suitcase full of them, and he had every color imaginable. He straight up told me, he said, "Man, I haven't seen color make a difference." He said, "When they're biting it, they bite every color that I throw." So that may be the deal. I don't know. I've caught them on, yes, I don't know. I like the Scuppernong. I like the green. I haven't been wild on colors, but at Logan Martin, it's on my Instagram. It's 2 days ago, actually. I caught one on the Queen's tackle, and it was the pink one. That bait right there.
Mm-hmm.
I caught a few on that one, but I caught I put it one on there, a 3 1/4 out of the grass on it. Then I caught off of that one. I caught a few on that one, and I would just use it early in the mornings until the sun got up, and then I'd change over. Probably my favorite color, and I don't know what it's called. We call it, some of my buddies call it Timu color, but it's just like that old brown.
Yeah.
And now I like the Scuppernong, and I like green pumpkin as well. I've tried. I haven't. I mean, like I said, I even went crazy and bought all the Elast tint dye where you can spray the Koike brand ones. You can spray any of those TPE materials, but it's a certain dye. You can't spray them with regular dye. You got to get that Elast tint. It's more of a paint than it is dyeing it, I think. And I haven't even tried to dye one yet, so I don't know.
So my opinion,
but I don't get
color,
crazy on jig colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My opinion on color with this specific bait is that they're not eating it because of color. I'm not changing colors because they're eating a certain color. They're eating it because of the way the bait moves. That's 100% why they choke the thing down. But the one color that has stood out to me while I've been throwing this bait, I throw a PB ball made by PB Rat. He's a San Diego guy who makes a 2 and 3 piece rat lure. It's a light purple color with a ton of blue flake in it. So it's a really, really bright purple. And as far as I've ever known in my bass fishing history, bass see purple better than any other color in the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And they eat that purple better than any other color that I've thrown. I've caught them on the brown. I've caught them on green pumpkin, purple copper. I've caught them on, that dark green color that Kurt was holding up earlier. But that purple bait has stood out like hands down above any of the other ones. And I think it's because they see it just a little bit better than the rest of them.
Yeah.
And they're not eating it because it's purple. It's because they see it easier.
Like you said, the draw power.
I'll try a few of those.
With both of you talking about the draw power, you see those fish react from, well, then at the end of the day, it's just how far can you make them see it from? If they want to eat it, you just make them see it from as far away as they can. They're going to come eat it. I mean, and that's why when I said I have the colors I do, Scott, you fished here. You know what my water looks like. That all those bright colors, the purples, the pinks, all that stuff, it just gets washed out in the sand. The sand silt. You need silhouette to create draw.
And that's where I really noticed it was the first day I ever threw it. It was a real bad algae bloom. Well, I'm not going to say really bad algae bloom. It was the start of an algae bloom, but it was a really, really bright green. It was enough to really, I don't know how to describe it. You threw anything green or brown in that algae and it just kind of disappeared. Not disappeared, but it just blended in. And that purple bait, it almost glowed in that algae bloom.
Yeah, I bet.
It was crazy. And they were crushing that color.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people that's their favorite color. Is you see those guys that have like the old man's like black grape, grape color. Remember the old man's jelly worm and grape. That I know guys that have the urchin in that, and they say that's their favorite color, and that's probably to that whole purple visibility thing, and it's dark enough that it's still throwing a silhouette, so it's sort of giving you the best of both.
I think there's something to it.
That's interesting.
Scott, especially since we started the podcast, my social media is filled up with everybody else's podcast. Facebook showing me everybody's stuff. Everybody's doing urchin stuff. Everybody's how to rig it, how to do this, da da da. You know what I really haven't seen a whole lot? What rod are people using?
I mean,
that's a thing. Like you like everybody likes you. So I know when you're on tour and you get talking to somebody, whatever. You're hearing, it's not just your own opinion, but you're hearing stuff from a lot of other people. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages when you are in that environment. Like you have the best fishermen in the world all doing something a little different. Yeah, it's about finding what works for you, but what are you hearing? What's the rod types that you're hearing?
I mean, it's, getting a hook set on these fish is a big deal. So you got to have something with some meat because they're eating the bait. They're getting it back in their mouth a lot of times. It's not like the throwing the minnow and all that. And some of the best, fishermen, scopers, fishermen, whatever. I don't care if you're a scoper or whatever. You look at Fisher and Aya right now. I mean, he went off the chain. He went like into another level, winning Lake Martin this year on that bait. And he was throwing it on a spinning rod, heavy leader, heavier rod. But, I mean, we talk about fishing and live scope. He shook off a fish on the final day because there was a bigger one on his scope following it. That's like next level that we've never, stuff that we've never even thought about doing. Like, if I get a bite, I'm setting the hook. He's got one. He's leading the tournament for $100,000. He's a rookie leading the tournament, and he's got enough composure. Sees two fish coming after his baits and sits there and shakes it till a fish spits it out until the bigger one runs up there and eats it. That just doesn't happen to most people. I mean, he's got, like Swindle said, he's got gills or something. I don't know exactly what rod he's been throwing it on, but, like I've got this one on a jig head like we were talking about, and that's actually a 7.3 heavy because that's on a jig and I'm fishing it in cover. The rod that I've been using around grass is my 7.6 heavy. I'm using it like on a jig rod. I mean, I used it, and probably the worst. We could get into a podcast about decision making because that's the biggest thing. All these guys can catch them. The worst mistake I ever made in my 19 years of professional fishing, I made at the Pascatank River. The best day I had of practice for that tournament was in the Chowan River on boat docks, and Christie wins the tournament up there, and I never even went to them because I didn't catch many. I caught big ones. I didn't get many bites, and I didn't know if I could go up there and get 5 bites. But they were big every time I set the hook. Had it on a 7.6 heavy flipping stick. The problem with that is casting it because you don't have so much weight on it. That bait that I was actually using our bait, the Unicorn Lures bait, and the biggest thing with that was it's heavy. It's heavy enough to cast without a weight on it. So I was able to skip docks with it with a 7.6. The other baits that I've used are a little bit lighter, and I went to that 7.3 heavy. I mean, I'm using a heavy action rod, and just anything that you can put it where you presenting the bait is the biggest thing because the fish are eating it, and then you just got to get a hook set in them. I did lose power or battery on my ear set here. I don't know if you can still hear me good.
Yeah.
Seems
right.
I got one in. I'm going to let that one charge for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I guess what I've been fishing it on is basically my heavier dock skipping rod.
That's it. Yeah.
The rod that I would use for, 3/8 or a ½ ounce jig skipping docks. That's what I'm using. It's a little slower, but it is a bit of a meat stick, and it's an original 7.1 heavy fast NRX. I mean, it's got some taters to it, and that's what I've been using it on. And you know what I'm fishing around? I'm fishing around exactly where you said. You texted me or called me that one day. You need to be fishing that thing where we fished last year on the river. That's where I've been at. So,
yeah. I tell you, I think I like the frog hook around grass, and it's so precise on your casting because if you're off an inch or two to the right with that frog hook sticking out, if it touches our water willow, we have water willow, you're hung. So there's little lanes, pitch at the edge, let it sink. Because same thing with that big jig that we were talking about earlier. Rate of fall gets a lot of bites on that big jig. 5/8, I use it because it moves a lot of water. I use that heavy line to slow it down. So I'm using a big bait, a big urchin bait, and I've got like I think a 3/16 head on it or weight on it. I'm trying to move. That thing moves a lot more water than any bait. The bigger ones move more water than any bait that we've used, other than a big crankbait or a big glide bait or a big spinner bait. This is I wouldn't call it finesse presentation, but it's a different presentation because it's a slow presentation that moves a lot of water. And fish just hadn't seen that. I mean, that thing, you said it a while ago. You was talking about the presence, but it's the drawing power, how far you can draw one. And if it's a clear water lake, the visibility, the colors probably come into play more. I don't know. I mean, if colors matter that much, you got to use what color you like fishing and catch them right now. And we'll figure out the colors as it goes. Maybe it may be different with smallmouth too. I made Unicorn pour me up a bag of black ones because I know a black fly and a black drop shot works up north.
Yeah, you mentioned the drawing power again. I'll say the last time I was out on the water, took my dad out for Father's Day. I threw that thing over 30 foot of water over a bush. A fish came out of 30 foot of water to eat the thing 2 feet. Moved
really?
28
2 foot
feet.
Down?
2 foot down.
Crazy.
Moved 28 feet to come eat that thing. They will come a long, long way. They can sense that thing from a long way away. It pushes that much water.
Yeah.
It's got that much draw. It's crazy.
That's something, I feel like we've gotten, in most baits, we've gotten away from the flappy. We don't see the big, like rage, the rage craw came out. That was the first rage bait from Strike King. Super flappy. You had before that the pack of craw, which I know you, Scott, you fished a lot over the years. We don't see baits as flappy like that anymore. But, back in that time, like
Pressure
Rick Clunn talked about, Rick Clunn talked about that a lot, about moving water. And look at Christie. He's winning on a Colorado bladed spinner bait. Hardly anybody throws that anymore. Moves water, that dirty water.
If Christie gets on him on that big single Colorado spinner bait, you're in trouble. Wherever, if he gets on him, you're in trouble.
You got to keep him where the water's clear.
He roomed with me last year. The water was clear. Santee Cooper, it was clear.
Yeah.
He roomed with me in that tournament when he won the tournament, the NPFL.
Yeah.
And after 2 days of practice, he even told me. He said, I don't know if I'm going to catch them or not, but I'm going to fish the way I like to fish. He sat up at night rigging up spinner baits. I mean, he didn't have enough of them rigged. He sat up at night and he threw that one bait. I think every fish he caught came on that bait. Every fish he weighed in, I know did, but I think every fish he caught came on it. Threw it all day.
But no one else does it anymore. That used to be the standard, right? Double willow leaf wasn't a deal. It was like big single Colorado or double Colorado. I threw the, growing up watching Hank Parker. Yeah. Growing up watching Hank Parker, it was always the man's classic spinner bait with the Colorado Indiana, That's the spinner bait I grew up fishing. Yeah.
Yep. Dang. That's lots and lots and lots we could talk about in fishing. The shallow water fishing. So every time we talk about shallow water fishing, I want to talk about flipping. That's what I do. I want to talk about flipping. And I probably won about as much money swimming a jig as I have doing anything. That's a shallow water technique that probably that's my second favorite way to catch them probably. And I'm not I don't do it as much as a lot of other people do now because I guess I was doing it before it was so super popular,
Right.
And that deal there catches some big ones. And there's so many different techniques and ways. And nowadays to be a fisherman or you want to be a not even a pro fisherman, you want to be a good all around grassroots fisherman, you got to learn to catch them every way. You got to learn to catch them on a sprinter bait. You got to learn to catch them chatterbait. You got to learn to catch them on topwater. I mean, topwater bites are as fun as it gets anywhere. There's not a better bite because you get to see the bite. And, you know, it used to be guys would excel at one technique. And we brought up Denny Brower earlier. He would excel at that technique and win. And he either won or finished, you know, back of the pack a lot of times. There was tournaments that he didn't win, that he probably lost a fish or something that he could have won. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of those stories. But he was like the legend. I mean, he was one of the guys that I wanted to be like and I still would like to be. Nobody will ever match what he did flipping and stuff back in the day, or even wins and stuff. I mean, it's just changed a lot. So these guys are so good now. I've seen the change. And I mean, I'm not one of the young guys for sure. I've been doing this 19 years, but I've seen these younger guys come in and they're prepared. They're ready now. High school fishing did a lot, but college fishing, these kids travel all over the country fishing big tournaments. They're not fishing little tournaments, and they're serious about it. They're not in college going out to bars every night. They're going fishing. I mean, and I see that. I mean, these kids are serious about it nowadays that are coming out. They're ready to go.
That's it. Their ability to learn, because they're learning how to be a competitive angler from a mental standpoint all the way back into middle school. Like we have middle school fishing here. Then we have high school fishing, and then a lot of those kids going off to college fishing. So they've already got 8 years of competitive fishing, not baseball, not football, where it's sort of the same, but it's not. No, it's fishing. And then they're getting out there and they have, forward facing sonars helped them a ton, but Facebook helps you a ton. Mapping helps you a ton. You know, every time you turn around, there's a new way to gather information or have better information faster than there was when you started. I mean, I remember me and you idling around Gunnersville with that guy showing us how to use the Humminbird and the Lowrance side imaging and what fish was what and this and that. And that guy, I mean, dude, that was 15 years ago. That guy was the one that was scanning for Lake Master, the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
You know, and prior to that, like, you didn't have these real defined creek channels and all that stuff. Now I can look at that map on my phone for 3 months. I can look at a map for Gunnersville on my phone that has every nook and cranny on it. And I can look at that for 3 months right on my phone, my laptop, my tablet, before I ever go there. You can zoom in and start finding Right. But I can do it without going fishing, without being in my boat, whatever. And you know, that's helping those kids go to those places. And then through the high school national championship stuff and the college stuff, they're traveling to other bodies of water. When I was that age, same as you, Scott, when you were that age, you fished the 3 biggest tournament bodies of water around you, and that's it. So I'm sure same with you, Adam. You've been doing it as long as as Scott and I've been doing it, you know.
So I'll add to that with the kids and what they grew up with. The 3 of us grew up with everything was secretive. When you found something that was a little bit different, you kept it to yourself. Growing up fishing team tournaments, club tournaments, all that stuff, you kept it to yourself. You did not share it with other people. And it was really prevalent here in San Diego with the world record chase. Guys kept everything to themselves. They didn't talk at all whatsoever. Nowadays with social media, look at you and me, Kurt. We're throwing all of our secrets out there, just like everybody else. The way it is now, everybody just throws it up. Like, you find something new, throw it up on social media because it likes, you know, it's that what's the word I'm looking for? That clout. You want that clout with the social media stuff. Throw it up on TikTok, you get all those likes, that immediate return. Like, social media has changed the game completely. And it's the learning curve for these kids with all of it put together. Yeah. All of it.
How long would
it's changed the learning curve so much, it's unbelievable in the last 10 years.
I recently seen some shots fired at a certain pro angler about how he had the preacher jig and nobody else was seeing it on the recorded cover for so long. That preacher jig was a secret for a long time on that ledge fishing. In live competition, it would not have been a secret in live coverage. No. Yeah. You know, think of how many pros were throwing mega bat.
it's hard. It's probably harder now to stay at the top than it's ever been. And these guys that are doing it, Chris Johnson won Angler of the Year 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Look at McKinney. Look at Trey McKinney.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is his third year, and he finished second the other 2 years, and he's leading right now. I mean, this kid's amazing. And there's a lot of them out there that are amazing, but this kid's like Fisher and I got gills. Trey McKinney spends 200 days on the water a year. He's fishing right now somewhere. I guarantee somewhere he's fishing.
Yeah.
Well, that's just what he does. When he leaves his house, he goes and fishes for 8 months.
So you tell me, as an elite series angler who's on camera all the time, how careful did Taku have to be to hide that chin or that koiki for as long as he did? Because he's been fishing it for like 3 years now or more on camera.
Yeah, yeah.
And no one knew he was doing it.
I mean, unbelievable. I don't know. I don't see how you could do it. I really don't know how you could hide it. And he, like it got out big when Fujita did it at Fort. What I said. All right. They brought all these techniques from Japan. The koiki sat on the shelves in Japan forever, not even selling anymore. The fish got used to them over there, they said.
Yeah.
The big koiki, the full cast, sat on the shelf at Mark's Outdoors for 6 months last year. They would buy the little bitty ones, the 17, but nobody bought the full cast. I should have bought every one of them. I wouldn't have to worry. I could store them for $250 a piece here this last month or two.
Yeah. What somebody told me that Quakey's been in Japan since like 2001.
Yeah.
I've heard the reason it's taking them so long to get it is because they quit making them. I mean, they just sitting on the shelves over there. They just quit making them, so they had to start production back up. Now I don't know if all that's true or not.
Well, you can't make them fast. It's not like you can. Not like you can cast 20, 30 of them in a bait in a single mold like you can a sweet beaver or a pack crawl or something or a Senko. The molds, 6-piece molds. People don't understand that. It's like one mold, one single shot, 6 pieces, disassemble, take one bait out. That's why they're expensive as they are, and that's why they're so slow to produce.
Oh, well, I know what the mold costs for unicorn. The big one that we have. The mold shoots 2 at a time.
Yeah.
But it's like 20 pounds. I mean, the mold's like 20 pounds. It's a 3 or 4 piece mold that he has to stick in a vise every time to keep it speeds it up rather than putting all kind of wing nuts on it. It's crazy. The 20-pound mold.
$400 mold.
Oh, it's double that.
Yeah. Keep going, buddy.
Yeah, double that. I know.
Yeah.
I know. This was the first one that he shot for a long time. That one was 400. The big one's double that.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Yeah. I heard one of the urchin type baits. I heard that the production mold for it was $7,000, and it's a 8-piece mold, and it casts 2 at a time.
2 at a time?
I don't know. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. That's crazy.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't mean.
But it's not. I mean, it's a little different urchin mold. It's got some different stuff going on. It's not just the spikes and this and that. But yeah, it just some of the stuff that you got to do to make that all work and then come apart. That's the thing, and have it be able to come apart.
You gotta be able to get the bait out.
What's going to be next? I mean, the next thing is what we got to come up with. We can all make a little money.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like we were talking about Josh Heron earlier. Josh was supposed to be on. That's Matt's son. For people that don't know who Josh Heron at Tattoo is, he was supposed to be on last week. That's why he wasn't on.
You just hurt him. See, if he kept that night out, if everybody didn't know that, he'd have more.
But Josh was supposed to be on. But he was getting that little head of his into production. He's one of the guys, like if I was to say somebody's going to come up with the next thing in the industry, like create something new, Josh is one of the few guys that I'd say is truly capable of creating something completely new.
Oh, 100%. When he puts his mind to it, he can do it. I mean, yeah, Tato, that's what a lot of people know him from them camera poles. But, I mean, his glide baits are freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I've got a box full of them. About
Yeah.
$200 a piece every time you want one.
Yeah, we did a podcast about the about swim baits a while back, Scott, and I was like, this is the only big swim bait I have, and I brought that one that guy in Arizona made. I completely forgot that I had 4 of Josh's before he was even selling them swim baits in my box. I found them the other day, and I've got some of his little jerk baits.
Yeah.
And then it's also my our hand tied hair chicken jigs, our preacher jigs.
Yeah.
That we made years ago. Those things have been sitting in there since I used them with you the last time. How long ago was that? 15 years?
No, y'all caught some smallmouth after that on the bay.
Well, Marcus did. I didn't.
Yeah. That's it. That was it, really, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a long time ago. I don't know
Yeah.
when it was. 2015, maybe 14.
Yeah.
That's probably
it was
the best weeks of fishing that I can ever had. When was it? Memorial Day week? Yep.
Memorial Day weekend. We went to
left my
Chickamauga.
house. We left my house, drove to Chickamauga, and
Yeah.
I thought boat traffic here was bad. That's yachts up there.
Yeah.
We had like 32 pounds at Chickamauga. Came home,
5.
went to Gunnersville the next day, another hour and a half drive. Caught 27 pounds or something. I mean, 30 pounds. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Came home, drove 2 hours to Pickwick the next day, caught 30 pounds, and then went back to Gunnersville again the next day. That's an amazing week of fishing.
And that 2 of those days, that week as a whole, just because you started giggling, we were catching them so good, you're giggling. Like we found one school on Chickamauga that, like, he catches an 8 and I catch 2 7s. We bust up the school and he's like, cast over there at a 45-degree angle. I cast, he reels in another 8 and I reel in another 7. You're just like, ow.
No live scope. Now this is before live scope.
Yeah. Yeah.
We was talking
Ledge fishing.
we were talking about that, graphing and all that a little bit. Dude, it's changed. Those fish, you can catch some, but they don't set up quite like they used to. They get their heads pounded now all winter long. I mean, we don't know about the future or what the future holds. I mean, but is forward-facing technology, is active target, is live scope, is all that good for the sport? We don't know. I mean, nobody knows. I mean, these fish used to suspend out in the creek channels, and you didn't all winter. We'd fish around here and catch them. You might fish 2 or 3 hours and not catch a fish, and then all of a sudden you catch all the fish that you weigh in. Those fish that fly out there to feed. But now they're getting caught all the time, like year round, every day. They're getting caught.
The smarter we get, the smarter we make them. The more we can see what they're doing and can catch them doing what they do, the tougher it becomes to catch them. But I want to go back.
Brain smaller than that half-ounce head. I don't know how smart they can be.
Well,
but they do outsmart me a lot of times.
Well, the pressure though. The pressure changes them. You said that with docks. I mean, whether it's the boat traffic, whether it's people fishing.
It was 2 years into it when we started seeing fish run away from that ping. You get on them and they disappear. Like they didn't do that when it first came out.
That's it. There's guys up here. They'll watch them ice fishing. It used to be like our fish didn't get beat up all winter long. Now everybody's out there pinging side it. There's pinging with the live scope. Them fish are getting chased around and pinged on. And there's guys up here ice fishing now that are like, we use it to find them, but once we find them, we shut all that stuff off. They won't use it. And I know some of the guys doing it, and they consistently they're using it to find them, and then they just beat the crap on me. They catch them. They just catch them by the boatloads, but they shut it off. Because they've noticed it, and like you said, 2 years. It took 2 years. But I want to get back to that week, Scott, because this got brought up, that what happened during that week. So we
can't talk about that. That's not shallow water fishing.
I was going to ask that question.
We're gonna talk about that a little bit. So
how bad did it hurt, Scott?
Well, so we go up there, and then I have one of
that was a different trip. No, that's a different trip.
It wasn't that same week.
No. And I
But yeah,
still got a knot on my head.
we, we we talked about. I even said like, I look back at Taylor and Taylor's turning white in the face.
That was a totally different trip, and we caught them good that
Was it?
time too.
Yeah.
Because we went to Gunnersville, me and you, and then we took my dad. Remember, we took my dad the last time we caught some. Yeah, it wasn't Taylor that time. That was a different trip, but gosh, I remember that.
God.
I bet you do.
I'm just glad those big hooks didn't get in my head. My hat flew. We're talking about, like, I don't know, I caught 3 or 4 in a row. Taylor was actually did good. Remember, she caught a bunch of fish drop shotting that day.
Yeah, we set her up with that drop shot.
Let us do our thing on the front. Wouldn't even say anything unless she got a fish on. But she did great. But I pulled up on a place, and I don't know, I caught 2 or 3 or whatever. We'd caught a bunch that day. Caught 2 or 3 like 5-pounders. They wasn't giants, but they were big ones. And I said, "Here, dude, you want to throw this crankbait?" "Yeah, let me throw it crankbait." Yeah, I wasn't used to that 7-Eleven Halo cranking rod, dude. That thing doubled over, and that, what, that 10XD or 8XD? It's like a 10XD.
10XD. It was a 10XD. That's why we got brought up.
It's like a shovel hit me in the back of the head. It set my hat flies like 15 foot. The hooks didn't even go in the hat, but my hat's 15 foot from the boat. It's like it knocked me to my knees. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it really was. I'll never forget.
The noise. I don't know how you could have heard it hit you because it just had to damn near knock you out. But I just remember looking back at Taylor and her eyes were damn near as big as her head. She was like, "Did you just kill my dad?"
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty bad.
Yeah. I'll never forget that trip though to Pickwick with Coda.
He had
with the big spoon.
Choice words to say with that big spoon, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I caught 1 or 2 on it. I don't think he'd ever caught one on a spoon, a big spoon. That was the Nichols.
Yeah.
It might have been the Ben Parker. Might have been the big Ben Parker spoon from Nichols.
It was.
Dude, I caught a couple on it. Let me throw that. Dude, like, he had some choice words when he went to hop it, and there was a 7-pounder on it. I haven't talked to him in a little while either. I need to call him.
What size boat was that he was in? That was the one he won Erie in. It was narrow. That Bass Cat.
Was we in his boat that day?
Yeah, we took his boat over there. So we're in that little boat, and I'm sitting in the middle, and you were running a trolling motor, and Coda's in the back, and it just, man, I about fell out of the boat laughing every time I fished with him. Remember that day up at Weiss?
Day at Weiss with Jeff Barnes and Coda, yeah. Seems to be like, we've had some, I don't guess we've ever had a really bad day on the water. We didn't catch them one time at Logan Martin that good, but we caught some decent fish. Yep. But like, just going out and having fun on the water, bass fishing, you relax and you catch them. Yep. I mean, that's what bass fishing is about. And it seems like that's the days that tournament day, tournament days, those days that you're able to relax. Yeah, I'm fishing for $100,000. I'm fishing for my livelihood. But those days that you relax and just go fishing and let the day come to you are a lot of times the days that are the very best days you'll ever have on the water.
That's what I like about shallow fishing. You just put the troll motor in. You got your assortment of baits up there. Scott and I, it's going to be a jig. 99% of the time is what you're picking out. But you just go down the bank, right? You just fish down the bank and fish whatever's in front of you, whether that's a dock, whether that's lily pads, whether that's a tree. Somebody cut their tree down in the backyard and it tipped it in the lake instead of on the yard. You just go fishing.
I can fish that jig in a foot of water. I can fish it in 25 feet of water. It doesn't matter, especially if you get up to a half ounce.
So we've gotten away from like the tutorial thing, and I don't mean to bring it back to that, but I do have a question about shallow fishing. And we were talking about the live scope stuff. When you're shallow fishing, flipping docks, whatever you're doing, fishing shallow, how often are your graphs turned off?
Not very much anymore. I did that for a while to cut them off, but like I got to where I wouldn't ever turn it off in practice, and I'd catch them. I mean, I don't run it anymore now than I used to. I mean, for years and years, I ran the TH Marine noise. What is the noise? What's it called?
Yeah, hydrowave. The hydrowave.
Hydrowave. I ran a
Hydrowave.
hydrowave for several years, and I mean, I seen times where that really,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it made a big difference. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that it never hurt, but I seen times shallow where I thought it made a big difference. I seen times out deep where I thought it made a difference. Why I don't run it now, I don't know. I should probably, but we just have so much stuff on our boat that I don't run it. But you know, and that's a ticking noise. I mean, maybe they feel that beam hitting them or something. I don't know. But that ticking of a transducer, a lot of times I don't know that it might get you an extra bite. I don't know. Fish, I've seen them come up to that hydroway. I've seen catfish come 5 foot from my boat, like a foot under the water, staring at my hydroway before. No lie. No, I don't know that I've ever seen bass do that, but I've seen shad get active. Fishing deep at Lanier and Horsewood Cup, pull up on a brush pile out there in 20 foot of water, and you drop shot, and you go to another brush pile and drop shot, and you're really not seeing no fish. We didn't have forward facing. We had, just 2D. But you pull up there and you turn that thing on, and all of a sudden you see it come alive, sort of. So sometimes some noise may help. I don't know. And I know a lot of people that turn their transducers off. I don't do it anymore, ever really. I mean, there's times that I have paused, I might turn everything off. If I'm allowed to fish forward facing, I may turn everything off except my forward facing. Because I pull up to a dock, I scan under there to see if I see one. I'm going to pitch to the post no matter if I see one or not. But I've caught a lot of fish like on a certain place or out in front of the dock, or there may be somebody may have a crappie top, a Christmas tree sunk 20 foot out in front of it that I wouldn't know was there. I've caught a lot of fish. Maybe it's just one today with my active target. Maybe it's just one that I weigh in that I caught because I was just looking at it even while I was fishing shallow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn it off. I'm not turning my active target off just because it's making noise. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I think you're doing good. Like you're saying, you got that thing where you'll turn it down where it's just that.
Right.
And it's not constant.
Turn everything else off. I never run my 3-in-1 or my through hole. All of that is set on standby when I'm fishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Adam and I both, we use the Minn Kota 360 a lot. But once if like Scott, you and I fished the same water 2 days back to back, basically punching and flipping some shallow grass last year. My stuff was all shut off during that because I knew where I was fishing. I mean, I fish that area all the time. I know I'm not looking for anything, but I'm not also out there fishing for $100,000 every other week. And you being able to
flipping grass. If I'm flipping grass, I don't even turn my active target on. I mean, you don't need it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to see one up in the grass. Now, I did on the Arkansas River see them under mats in the gravel pits. The mat is 7 foot deep under it. I've seen a lot of times. I watch fish chase my bait to the bottom underneath the mat.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I guess I don't know if you know this, Adam, but speaking of the forward-facing sonar stuff, in the Elite Series, you guys one tournament's this, one tournament's that. Are you allowed forward-facing sonar during practice or not?
No. On tournaments, you can't use it. You're not allowed to use it during practice.
In practice. Okay. Right.
It's locked out completely. In PFL, it's got to be locked out or off the boat every tournament.
Yeah.
I'm not against it, technology, because, go back to anything. I mean, technology changed. I mean, when I was growing up, we had rotary phones, I remember the first time I carried a beeper around so somebody could send you a message or something. You had to go to find a payphone and call your parents or whatever. But Nextels came out. Well, I mean, thank goodness. I mean, technology has changed the world. I mean, we're not driving a horse and buggies anymore. But there is a point where somebody's got to figure out, is it good for the sport? Is it good for the fishery? Is it good for the sport? I'm always going to have an active target. I'm always going to have that on my boat, whether I can use it in a tournament or not. I'm going to have it when I'm fun fishing. I'm going to have it when I'm crappie fishing because you learn so much by that tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool. I mean, it's amazing the difference that you can tell, like by throwing a jerk bait on 8-pound line versus 12-pound line, how the depth it runs. You can throw a DT6 on 8-pound line, and you can throw it on 15. You can watch how the depth that it runs. There's just like I was talking about rate of fall. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember fishing ponds out of an aluminum boat. We didn't have a map. We didn't have anything. Cast a 1/4 ounce cream worm over here with a 1/4 ounce lead bullet weight, and you'd sort of count it down to see how deep it was. Cast over here, cast over there, and it took it 10 seconds to get to the bottom. You cast over here, and there's 2. Man, it's shallow over here. It might get some bites. There's got to be a drop off between here and there.
Yeah.
That's the way we figure things out. Technology has changed that, and it doesn't take as long to learn anything now. But is it good for our fisheries? Is one thing. That's another. That's something for the states to figure out. If it's back, I mean, I don't know how long. Like we caught crappie for a long time. I mean, and we get 30 per person in Alabama, 30 per person every day. Every day. There's no limit in your cooler or in your freezer at the house. You get 30 per person. I got a buddy that's sending me a picture every day. He's catching a limit every day, 5 days a week since March or February. He sent me a picture today at 11 o'clock, caught his limit. All right. If I take 3 people, that's 90. We're going to catch 90 most of the time. Now that I've got my active target and I'm dialed in, I'm going to move around and catch them. I mean, I'm going to go catch me 90 crappie when I catch 3 people and keep them and clean them. We're going to have a big fish fry. We're going to have a big fish fry at church next month. I might need some extras. We're going to do that. We're going to catch them. How long? We used to couldn't catch that many. How long is the lake going to allow you to do that? How long? Now, it seems like it's gotten better to me. I know the size has gotten a lot better around here. The Logan Martin, the crappie are bigger than they ever were. It may be because there's less of them. There's less competition, and they're able to grow a little faster and eat more. And then at certain time, you keep taking them out, that's going to start to decline too.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like,
I thought that active target or forward facing sonar or live scale, I thought that was going to be just like gunpowder was to the buffalo. I said, man, the crappie, they'll be gone in a year or two, but it's gotten better. And I don't know if it's going to hurt it. I don't know. Nobody knows the future. I mean, we went to the state. I went to the state with Kay Donaldson, Clint Davis. May have just been us 3. And we met with the state representatives. We met with the marine biologists for the state of Alabama. And I really, and I'm still doing it. And actually, we're able to do it now. We're stocking Alabama lakes. We're stocking the Coosa River. Sylacauga Marine and a lot of guys have already stocked. They stocked 50,000 in the Logan Martin this year. They stocked 30,000 last year. We're stocking Neely Henry now. But several years ago when we went to the state, they wouldn't allow that, wouldn't give us a permit to do that. They didn't want to be involved with it, said it wasn't worth it because all of their data that they have for 20 years of data that they gave us paperwork for this fix. I mean, this is a whole different thing. We can go into a 3-hour podcast about. When we walk in, these biologists hand us 300 pages, and this is their paperwork that they've already done. So they've already decided that we're not going to get a permit to help stock Alabama. I mean, I had ideas. I know it's expensive to do that, but there's ways. I mean, now they let you deer hunt over corn in Alabama. You pay for a card. You pay $15 to hunt over feed. You pay $3 extra at the end of your license to get a permanent card, a plastic card instead of a piece of paper with your hunting license for every year. Why not? And when you buy a fishing license, they sell $1.2 million a year fishing license in Alabama. Why not at the end of when you get your license, everybody's paying that $3 to get a hard copy of their card. Why not ask them if they want to pay $3 to help restock Alabama? You get $4 million a year in money just to spend, but that's going to create a job for somebody to have to do and have to keep up with. So they're not into that. But I mean, I don't even want to get into that story because I might sound like I'm bickering. But hey, it's great. We're restocking Alabama right now, and it's showing.
Yeah.
Mark's Outdoors put a tournament on for and restocked every year. They gave fingerlings out every morning to start the tournament. Everybody got a bag of fingerlings And when you got caught, you dropped them in. That was something that really, really helped me like for several years and still does today. I mean, some of those fish are being caught now, and that's some of the things that I see that helped. But all this research that they have for 20 years of research and saying that the lakes don't need restocking, they don't have research on the pressure that's on these lakes that are on them now. Nobody has that that data because it's getting more and more pressure every year. And but it's obviously it's worked because we are able to stock, we are able to get permits, and we're able to do it legally now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You see, you got obviously the forward-facing sonars making people more successful. Like when you talk about the crappies and the bluegills, like Scott, you spent time up here. Like it's a catch and keep fishery. Every fishery, it's walleyes, crappie, bluegills. Like that's the deal. Perch, like that's how it is up here. And the forward-facing sonar is making everybody more successful. So they're taking more and more often, even though we have possession limits of what's in your freezer. They really have a hard time, managing that. And that's where I'm worried about the forward-facing sonar. If the states just don't get back into, we have to reduce some bag limits, the daily bags, that type of stuff. That's where it's going to hurt the sport and the fisheries.
Back on with y'all.
Yep, we got you, buddy. So that's it. Yeah. You were just gone for a second.
I don't even know what Chrome is.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where I think forward-facing sonar is really going to start to affect the sport. Where if we don't manage it, if we don't manage or curb what's being taken out of it, because as a bass guy, like none of us are keeping bass.
No.
But
I mean,
the bluegill and perch fishermen. Yeah, we all have. Can't speak for Adam, but I know I have growing up. But at the end of the day, it's like the bluegill. I want every bluegill fisherman to love bluegill fishing and enjoy his time out on the water, and I want him to be a good patron of that sport because those bluegill are good for our bass. Exactly. Same with the perch. Same with the crappie. We don't have shad like you guys got down there, but that's where we.
That's the thing in that meeting that we had in Montgomery. This is the capital of Alabama. Yep. That's like, I said, okay, if we're not going to restock the lakes, but yet I've got what I thought was the greatest ideas ever to raise $3 million a year, because 99% of people are going to do that. I said, there's got to be a way that's going to help these lakes. Whether it be, if we're not going to restock, let's help with forage. Let's put more brim in them, more shad in them, more crawfish in them. If we don't want to do forage, let's do habitat. There's so many different things. I mean, as a bass fisherman, I'm a conservationist. I mean, and that goes back to Bass Angler Sportsman Society. The biggest thing they ever were was conservationists, and they're still big on it. I mean, we get penalized twice if you have a dead fish. We, as a bass fisherman, we definitely don't want to kill one of them. I mean, they're penalizing us. I mean, we want to be able to release him and catch him again. I mean, that's something that we want to do. All the tournament anglers definitely want to be conservationists. We all do. We're not trying to hurt fish. Now, some of these lakes around here and some of your lakes up there, I'm sure, I don't know about how small my populations are that well yet, but like our spotted bass population, Smith Lake, Lake Martin, certain lakes are way, way, way overpopulated. And a lot of those little 12 inchers that need to be taken out. And all the biologists 100% agree with us. But we don't want to stop the spotted bass. The spotted bass seem to flourish down here. I mean, they really reproduce and take over. What anybody wants to stop, and I don't know if you might get into pure northerns, pure southerns, or F1s, is largemouths, because that's what, as a tournament angler, you're definitely going to be after one of them in our lakes to try to bump your bag up.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Was that with Rob Jordan and when we got talking about? Yeah, we had Rob Jordan. I don't know if you know Rob Scott, but we got into the whole what happens with the spotted bass, and they get into places, and like those do not need to be getting put into just anywhere willy nilly because the spotted bass will take over. And it isn't good
They will
ultimately in
take
the
over
end.
for sure. I mean, they can take over a lake. They can help a
Yeah.
lot of lakes. I mean, and a lot of things are in place because of nature. Mother Nature can take care of a place better than any human can, for sure.
Mhm.
So we sort of got to let Mother Nature handle a lot of that, but we can do our part as help as far as if you get the right research into it, as far as putting back, and that's part of
Yeah.
conservation is putting back into everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of been a sponsor for me for a long time is Fish Life Fish Care products. And that's all. The only reason I ever got that is reaching out to them because conservation. They were big into
Mhm.
conservation, the live well treatment, the first aid, everything they do to try to help a bass survive is something that I was passionate about. And that's something that's really helped over the years. And I've always been into that since, I mean, my teenage years or whatever. I mean, as growing up as a kid, we kept them. I mean, I've got
Well,
pictures of a lot of big bass like that I wish I wouldn't have cut the sides out of. I mean, I've got stringers from Eufaula, Alabama of 6-pounders and 7-pounders on a stringer that I could bragging that I could, hold them up for pictures. It's crazy there wasn't that many people taking them out, and it didn't hurt back then like it would now if everybody took them out because there's
mhm.
so many more
Yeah.
people fishing. Some fish need to
Yeah.
be taken out, I'm sure. How many die of natural causes? I mean, a bass doesn't live forever. Humans don't live forever. Deer don't live forever. So what
Yeah.
age do they die? I mean, and that
Yeah.
probably depends on where they're at. I mean, I caught a 7-pounder at Champlain years ago, and like people were saying, man, that fish was 12 years old because their
Yeah.
growing period, the growing cycle
Yeah.
up there is so much shorter than it is in the
Yeah.
South. Like everything, I've
That's
learned
it.
a lot from Kurt about how fast everything happens up north.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. You look at the smallmouth up here, though, pretty much every biologist tell you 18-inch smallmouth is knocking on 20 years old.
That's
So
crazy.
every time you see a smallmouth that's 18 inches long get taken out of a system, like I see it on Facebook, it's like that guy has every right to go do that, the same as I do to go catch as many as I want and throw everyone back. He buys his
Right.
license, he pays his taxes, he does everything. He might
As
spend
long as
more
he does it
money
within
than
the
I
law.
do, as long as he does it within the law. But you still you see that, and I just seen a post this weekend where a guy took out some clients and they wanted to get 2 smallmouth mounted. They catch 2 20-inchers out of a northern Wisconsin lake. I am happy that customer got their wish and they're going to have their trophy that they want. But the other half of me is sick to my stomach that you just lost 2 trophies that could be caught a couple times a year by a kid or a new fisherman or this, that, and now they're just gone.
Yep.
But again, they're within their rights. They're within their law. I'm not going to tell them not to do it. I may encourage them to consider a replica or something else different given the opportunity, but they have every right to do that. They're no different than
They
if it
have every
was
right to do it.
14 inches,
That's right.
Well,
But
we're going to have a guy on here in the near future talking about fish care. That's one of our future episodes that we have planned. And I really want to get into this with him because he's a San Diego guy too. And I know he saw what happened here in San Diego. I don't know if you know, Scott, San Diego is world record. The world record chase was all eyes were on San Diego for a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with the Florida strain bass being put in our lakes in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They populated, they grew, and a lot of guys were taking them out of our lakes. I mean, you saw stringers of 50-pound bags regularly in the 70s and 80s getting taken out of our lakes. And I'm not going to say they dwindled down the population, but it cut down the population enough. And then they started putting trout in our lakes, which are just protein candy bars. It was just the perfect recipe for pulling down that population just enough to peak the size of those fish with the forage available. And,
Right.
it was a perfect recipe for a world record situation. And I mean, I want to say 4, 5, 6 of our lakes had world record potential within a 20-minute drive of my house. Almost every one of them.
Crazy.
It was insane.
That's crazy.
Well, Scott, deer. It ain't any different with deer. I mean, deer, Scott. It ain't any different with deer. You get the right nutrition and the right amount of them. you're going to grow big ones. Too many, you're not going to get big ones. Not the right nutrition, you won't get big ones, but you're going to get big ones if you put the two together.
I've learned a lot about deer over the years. I mean, I've got a wall of deer, and I mean, I don't kill the giant deer because I kill deer. I mean, I'm not after one giant deer. I like to kill deer, but I eat deer. But anyhow, you know, a lot of that you can grow soybeans. You can put the best protein out there in the world, and a lot of that you're gonna help deer. But those places that grow deer, those places, those regions that have these bigger deer, it's in the soil, it's in the dirt, it's in what God put in the dirt is what creates those big deer, and that's 100%. And that's why those places grow crops better too, is because it's the soil.
Yep.
They had big deer before there was soybeans there, or there wouldn't be big deer. It's a lot of it's in the soil, the minerals that they get from the soil, and that's a lot of fishing everywhere you go. I mean, there's a lot of people catch a lot bigger fish. I mean, there's certain regions of the country that have a lot bigger fish than we have here in Alabama, but we got great fishing. I mean, I've been super blessed here in Alabama and all over the country. I've got to fish all over the world. I've been blessed beyond like my dreams ever thought I would be. I mean, I was on the Team USA for 6 years. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Mexico twice. I've been to Portugal, Italy. I've been all over the world chasing bass and got to catch them shallow, got to catch them deep everywhere I've been, and got to catch them on a jig everywhere I've been. So, I mean, bass fishing has just been good to me, and I would like to be able to give back to it, really and truly.
You talked about the soil. I noticed that at one specific lake here in San Diego County. When you see a guy catch a fish at this lake, you know it's from that lake because of the way that the fish is shaped. I had a day at that place that I'll never beat as far as big fish goes. In one day, I had a 10, a 12 and 3/4, and a 14 and a half. And at that place, when that specific lake, anytime somebody posts a picture of a fish from San Diego County, I can tell you if it's from there. Like guaranteed, no doubt. Like there's no doubt whatsoever. It's from that place, and I'm always right because they are shaped a certain way, and it's something in the soil.
It really is.
Yeah, really is. That's what we got. We got here with the smallmouth, northern Wisconsin. Certain lakes, I don't know if it's, it's got to be the mineral in the water that causes the color, but these lakes have bigger than average smallmouth. There's a lot of lakes that'll just have good smallmouth, but there's a handful of lakes they have bigger than average, and most of those fish have that purple burgundy color, not your traditional bronze smallmouth black brown color. They literally dang near look purple, and it is a unique thing there versus other places. And yeah, you try to not post pictures of that.
Yeah, I think my ADD got us off the subject of shallow water fishing. I've really enjoyed the podcast, though, y'all. We will have to sit down. I'll have to sit down with Kurt if you all allow this, and we'll have to do a schedule, a format of how we're going to do. And I got to be invited back for a part 2 because we got off the subject and never got back on it much. You did ask one or two things, but I keep jumping around. Like my ADD is always going somewhere else.
Yeah, well, that's that. We get there all the time. Don't worry.
Before we do it.
I said it I said it 1,000 times on this podcast. It wouldn't be Bass Fishing Dive Bar if we didn't get off topic.
Yeah. The dive bar part may not help either.
That's what this is for.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, we do. We got to get you back on because there is definitely some shallow water fishing stuff I want you to cover. Shallow 100%. Grass. The swim jig, like inside weed edges, that type of stuff. So we'll just have to do that again.
To do it.
And I did actually think, though, with what we talked about, so a little teaser to the coming episode when we talk about the fish care and having this guy that Adam has found to come on and talk about it. And just with what you were talking about in your relationship with your sponsor that, I know you were using those products before you were sponsored because of the fish care side of that. Maybe we should see if Scott's available to come on and talk about some of that stuff. What 100%. Spurred this what spurred this, Scott, and why I'm like, I am sick and tired of seeing certain things that I think's just terrible that we keep seeing. We got MLF. Well, Bassmaster got rid of the net years and years ago because of the damage the net can cause in that fish. They wanted people to lip that fish, right? Like Bassmaster did that long time ago. You got Bass Pro Tour. You get penalized if that fish hits your carpet. But I see so many of these influencers throwing big swim baits or a jig or whatever, got the camera set up. You know where that camera is at. It's right along that console. And they're carpet flopping that fish in 90-degree heat in the south, middle of summer, 6-pounder in front of that camera right on that carpet. You tell me that's good for it?
Yeah.
We got all these kids that then think that that's okay and that's normal. And it honestly, it pisses me off every time I see it.
Well,
and that's what
the thing to go along with that, these influencers all want to put 5 or 6 big fish in their live well, carry them around, and then take a group picture at the end of the day. And that's all good at times of the year, but it's stressful at certain times of the year too.
Yeah, we don't need these hero shots. And I think that's where that carpet flop with that big swim bait has turned into the modern hero shot. I mean, Adam, me and you both guilty of it. I know, Scott, you've seen some of the pictures. You know, I was guilty of it. You'll well some fish because you're catching giants and, you know, take that hero shot. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? That ain't what I need to be doing. And I just think there needs to be some awareness because that's what got me to stop doing it was just awareness, right? Like that's educate. So maybe we got to see about if you're available for that podcast and you can talk about your fish care and why you do what you do.
For sure. I want to be back on 100%.
So
I've enjoyed it for sure. And we got a lot more shallow water fishing to go over. I mean, there's so many different things that you could talk about. We did skirt around the Jason Christie shallow water spinnerbait. I mean, that's a lot of that, like, is keyed in on water temps and things when fish are starting to spawn, and that's on their mind as fish are moving shallow. I mean, but there's a ton of information that, you know, people know it, but we can give it out. We can definitely help somebody out, maybe help somebody become an angler or a jig fisherman or whatever.
We could do 8 or 9 episodes on shallow water fishing. I mean, there's not much of it.
Last week, Adam had me rambling for 2 hours about flipping as a whole, like grass, wood, all that stuff. And the only thing we didn't cover was docks because we're just like, well, let's do that when Scott's on. So, well, we're just this one's about
is my favorite thing. I mean, that's probably my favorite way to fish. I mean, it's just what I grew up doing. And I'm not saying it's my favorite. River fishing current is probably my favorite. It's just not as good as it used to be around here.
Yeah.
We still do it some, but it's changed. Alabama Power our current levels went from generation schedules that ran all day to now it runs 2 hours from 3 o'clock in the evening to 5 and then from 7 to midnight. We just don't have the current, unless we have a flood situation, we don't have the current that we used to have.
Yeah.
And that's changed a lot. And I would love, I mean, that's how I grew up. That's how I learned how to fish. It was a worm, a Texas rig worm, 1/4 ounce weight, 99% of the time. And you'd wash that bait through current. Everything I felt. I mean, throwing at big trees or rock points or whatever. And it was all about feel. If you could feel a bass bite a worm washing down a river in lots of current, you can feel a bass bite a jig on a boat dock.
Mono.
Yeah, on mono. That stretched.
Mono back in the day.
There's so many. I mean, like, there's so, and I don't want to talk about me, but there's so many stories that I have to share with people. I mean, anybody around here, I mean, I room with Russ Lane now on the Elites and stuff, and he was telling a story the other day, and it brought back, I mean, just so many good memories. My wife was pregnant with Taylor. I fell and broke both my jaws, had my mouth wired shut with stainless steel wire, broke my wrist in 8 places, had 2 screws sticking out up here and 2 in the bone of my arm with a big brace. They would come in and tighten this up every 2 weeks. And I had a cast up to here. I bought left-handed reels. I couldn't talk, and I won 6 weeks in a row. I won the Airport Marine Tournament championship right before Christmas, won like $7,500 in that tournament. Had bought left-handed reels because I could hold the handle, and I just reeled the whole rod. it's unbelievable the stories, and that's just I was really mad. It fell on a Thursday. We were had a dinner. My wife had a dinner with her, a Christmas dinner, like at her company that she was working for, and I was supposed to go to it. I had left. I had a company. I'd left, and guys called me. They couldn't get the last wind in. I went back, made some scaffolding because, long story, scaffolding was on another job. Made some homemade scaffolding, climbed up, took a wind out, put a new wind in, trimming it out. I'm 11 foot in the air on top of scaffolding with a 6-foot step ladder. Put the last board in with a nail gun, and with the left hand holding the gun, when I pushed in, all my scaffolding fell. And I fell and landed there on concrete stairs. This wren still had a nail gun when I tried to catch myself and broke that wrist. And I fished every day that I could, but I got mad. Spent that night nearly in the hospital. We got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Had surgery on that wrist. They didn't do anything to my jaws after I keep telling them, but they had stitches on the inside of my mouth and the outside where I hit. And I was mad the next day because I was supposed to be fishing a tournament, and they didn't wake me up to go fish. So that's how much that I actually love this sport. Still do today. Lots of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Lots of stories, lots of different things going on.
There's a couple different reasons why you got to come up and visit me this year, and one of them's going to be that you got to come back and fish some river current again.
We got to do that. We got to do that.
We might have to go over the Mississippi River.
We could do that.
Could I twist your arm to go to the Mississippi River?
I need to make a catch trip down there. I've had some good tournaments there, but I need to learn to I have had one top 10 there, but I need to get a little more better. I need to get a little more dialed in on that Mississippi River.
Well, you ain't going to get much help from me because I ain't been there but once.
You hadn't been there, I know, but we can go learn it. Us together, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
I got a couple of guys over here waiting on me that's been here for about 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to cut it short. If y'all will invite me back, I would love to come back.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well,
is it any of the
patient?
Yeah, is it any of the good old boys that I know?
No, Josh Butts is here. I fish with him now.
Yeah.
They got some tacos and lots of food I'm fixing to eat.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Well, we'll talk to you later. I will catch up with you tomorrow.
For sure. Let's catch up, and we'll go ahead and put us together a schedule for the next one, and I'll take an Adderall or something. I'll have to find one. I don't remember taking one, but I'd like to stay.
No. This is more entertaining.
Okay.
All right.
You gotta this. Yeah,
I appreciate y'all very much having me on, guys, and I'm available.
Thanks for coming on.
Time will allow. I would leave, and I can remember. Yeah. I'll be available whenever we can make it happen.
Yeah, I'll make sure Dixie puts it in your calendar. I'll text her.
That's right. Me do that for sure. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Scott.
See you, buddy.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Thank y'all.
See you guys. Peace.